Now if you've got some seriously fat stacks, you might well be tempted to shell out on one of these expensive new bendy blowers. From dinky foldables that can be stashed wherever you fancy, to massive mofos that are basically scrunched up tablets, there's a surprisingly big selection of flexible phones right now in 2023. So here's my pick of the best foldables you can bag yourself right now, and for more on the latest and greatest tech, please do subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! Now one of my absolute favourite compact flippy phones is Motorola's charm and wee pocket pal, the Moto RAZR 40 Ultra. After 4 or 5 previous versions, they've proper nailed it. The Ultra model boasts a wangin' great 3.6-inch POLED cover screen with 144Hz refresh support, convenient for quickly fiddling about in any of your apps, or simply replying to messages without going to all the effort of actually unfolding the bugger. But if you do actually put your thumb through the somewhat grueling exercise of flipping the RAZR 40 Ultra open, well, your peepers will be greeted with a glorious internal 6.9-inch OLED panel. It's once again a gorgeous poppy display, this time with LTPO tech, so that refresh rate scales all the way up from bugger all to a silky smooth 165Hz. And that's backed by respectable stereo speakers. It's the same slick stock Android experience as what you get with non-bendy Motorola blowers, with a few extra features packed in there to take advantage of that enlarged cover display, including some fun wee time wasters which are surprisingly addictive. The battery life is actually decent for a foldable if you're not too demanding, and of course that Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 chipset keeps everything running smoothly. It's only the less than fantastic camera tech and the fact that the price tag ain't exactly affordable that might turn people away from this otherwise rather ruddy good Moto mobile. Now another brilliant bendy blower that's similar to that Motorola RAZR smartphone is Oppo's excellent Find N2 Flip, which you can snaffle right here in Blighty for about 850 quid. This stinky bendy blower magically expands in your hand to a proud 6.8 incher, with only a subtle bit of crease action thanks to Oppo's very clever arse Flexion hinge. That internal display is bright and punchy, while you also get a ruddy huge cover screen with a proper aspect ratio for running apps. It's just a shame, therefore, that you can't actually run any apps on it. You do have a small selection of widgets, including a calendar and a timer, and you can also get snarled at by a malevolent bunny, so that's always great. But the good news is that Oppo has already updated that cover display, so now you can reply to any messages that pop up using speech to text, and there's also a fresh new Spotify widget. So here's hoping that Oppo continues to update and improve the Find N2 Flip with these kind of features. The Find N2 Flip also boasts enough grunt to run the latest games, you've got superb battery life for a compact foldable, and some pretty decent camera tech too, so overall I like it a lot. And Samsung also offers its own compact foldable in the form of the Galaxy Z Flip 5, which will empty your wallet to the tune of about £1,000. This thing is basically the Joe Pesci of the smartphone world. It may be teeny, but it is tough as nails. Not only is it IPX8 water resistant, but also that Gorilla Glass Victus 2 finish means it's pleasingly scratch resistant and can handle quite a few knocks. The Z Flip 5 serves up a similar design to the Moto and Oppo efforts, but with Samsung's own One UI launcher slapped on top of Android. That cover screen is almost as big as Motorola's and boasts a fast and efficient UI. But while you can run some third-party apps like YouTube and WhatsApp, only a small handful are currently supported. Meanwhile, Samsung hasn't bothered to upgrade the 6.7-inch internal OLED screen. But while it isn't ideal to use in bright sunlight, it is still sharp and poppy and generally a pleasure to use. Performance is solid even for hardcore gaming thanks to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 smarts. And the Galaxy Z Flip 5 also packs a respectable 12MP camera for snapping your general existence. Casual photographers should be more than happy enough, while Samsung's usual video know-how means your home movies look supremely slick. It's only the less than fantastic battery life and that £1,000 asking price that keep me from merrily recommending the Galaxy Z Flip 5 to absolutely everyone. Now, if you'd rather have yourself a proper beefcake foldable phone that actually unfurls into a tablet-style device, well, check out Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold 5 instead. This latest model is significantly slimmer than before, as that annoying gap of yesteryear has been kicked right in the cock. Although yes, it is still a proper brick. But at least it's a tough brick, because once again you've got that IPX8 water resistance and that Victus 2 finish. That 6.2-inch dynamic AMOLED cover screen works like any normal smartphone display this time. So yeah, you can run any app you like. although it is startlingly skinny, so typing on it isn't exactly a dream. Still, this panel is bright, colourful and supremely smooth with 120Hz refresh support, and it's very well suited to cinematic fare. Yank the Z Fold 5 open and you've got yourself a 7.6-inch interior screen with the same specs as last year's model. That Quad HD Plus resolution keeps visuals crisp despite the size of this thing, while the camouflaged under-display selfie cam means you can enjoy a proper full-view finish. And as you'd expect, thanks to that massive whopping great internal display, the Galaxy Z Fold 5 is perfect for multitasking, running up to 3 apps side by side, plus some extra floating window shenanigans if you fancy it. So you can, for instance, refer to a web page or a document while you're bashing out an email and simultaneously watching some hairless gal bang on about tech. Absolute joy. Performance comes courtesy of the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 again, so gaming is a breezy experience. Of course, the 4400 mAh dual cell battery means you are limited to around 5 to 6 hours of screen on time a day. And that drops rather sharply to around 3 to 4 hours at most if you're using that big internal display in bright sunlight quite a lot. And also, the Galaxy Z Fold 5's charging speeds aren't particularly speedy, although at least you do have wireless charging support chucked in there too. As for the camera tech, well, that triple lens setup, captained by a 50 meg primary sensor with optical image stabilization, offers very similar results to the regular bog standard Galaxy S23 flagship. It's quite capable in most lighting conditions, with only occasional stumbles in that picture quality, while the Z Fold 5 can also capture some slick looking 8K resolution video. Now, one of Samsung's biggest rivals right now in the foldable world is the Google Pixel Fold, which launched shortly before that Z Fold 5. And this is Google's very first stab at a bendy foldable phone, which makes it all the more impressive that it's so ruddy good. The Pixel Fold sports a more compact design with a squat 5.8-inch cover screen that is much easier to type on and use one-handed. That internal display is the same size as Samsung's and not quite as bright, but it is just as vibrant and it is ideal for reading. However, I've got to say, when you flip this thing open and start using that big internal display, I do prefer the Galaxy Z Fold 5. It's just easier to get multitasking, and also apps strangely don't bulk up quite as often. That Tensor G2 chipset can once again cope with some serious gaming, but it's not as powerful as the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 and it does tend to heat up a bit under pressure. Thankfully, the Pixel Fold wins back some points when it comes to battery life with its bigger cell. If you use that massive internal screen a lot, you will tend to get longer out of each charge. And the Pixel Fold also pumps out better looking snaps with its 50 megapixel rear camera, helped along considerably by Google's impressive image processing chops. It's more capable in low light and also boasts a better zoom lens for getting closer to your subject, although the Z Fold 5 is superior for video capture. Choosing between these two foldable phones can be rather tough, but I'd say if you don't mind the Tensor G2's limitations, I would go Pixel Fold. That's my personal pick of the two anyway, but if you want a more detailed side-by-side comparison, well, I've done you one right here on TechSpert. A similar and cheaper alternative to the Z Fold 5 and Pixel Fold is the Honor Magic VS, which sadly isn't water resistant, but it still boasts some solid specs for a better price. You've once again got a Full HD OLED with 120Hz refresh slapped on the outside, and a 7.9-inch OLED squirreled away inside. It's a sharp poppy stunner, but this time the refresh rate maxes out at just 90Hz. Magic OS is a tad more janky than One UI, and that Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 not as beefy as the Gen 2 chipset, although it's still perfectly fine for gaming on the go. But it's the battery life which is the true highlight of the Honor Magic VS, thanks to the bloody massive 5000 mAh capacity cell stuffed inside. That means all day play, no worries, while the 66-watt wired charging support means you'll be back up to full again in no time at all, although admittedly there is no wireless charging support here on the VS. That camera tech once again offers ultra-wide and telephoto options, and it's alright, but a bit more limited in low light and dodgy lighting compared with the likes of the Pixel. So while the Honor Magic VS is pleasingly affordable and also that battery life is definitely superior to the other big bendy blowers in this roundup, I would definitely be swayed by the others instead. It's just not quite there yet. However, the Honor Magic VS2 is set to launch globally at IFA 2023, which kicks off just a few weeks after I shoot this video, so hopefully that should fix quite a few of these issues. Now, when it comes to the hardware, it is hard to fault the excellent devices that Huawei spaffs out, and this fresh new Mate X3 is its best yet. This is one of the most impressively skinny and light full-sized foldables around, and with its sleek vegan leather coat, it's an absolute stunner. And yeah, you'd kind of bloody well hope it looks good as well for $2 flipping grand. Despite its slender design, you've got a 4800 mAh capacity battery with 66 watt wired and 50 watt wireless charging support, giving you all day play no worries and nippy recharging when you need it. Those OLED displays are absolute eye candy, and while the 50 meg ultra vision camera can't quite reach the giddy heights of excellence of Huawei's P60 Pro, the Mate X3 can still churn out good looking pics whenever you like. However, despite that steep price, the Huawei Mate X3 is powered by the older Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 chipset, and there is no 5G action here either, all thanks to the various sanctions and other bullshittery that Huawei has been dragged through. And likewise, as usual, there's no hot Google action on board, and did I mention it costs 2,000 quid. Anyway, that's my roundup of the best foldables you can bag yourself right now here in the UK in 2023 that I've personally tested and reviewed. Got a couple more on the horizon, of course, not just that Magic VS2, but also the OnePlus Open, which should eventually finally be with us in, well, hopefully any day now, basically. But it'd be great to hear your thoughts on what you find the best foldable phone right now as well. Please do smash those down in the comments, poke subscribe and ding that notifications bell and all the usual YouTube guff. And have yourselves a really wonderful rest of the week. Cheers!